Right. Okay, recording. Has that come up on your end?
Yeah, it has. It's asked me whether I want to leave the meeting now. I clicked yes.
Run away.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome, guys and girls, to Essentials Talk episode 4. Here with me today, we've got David Cross, aka the FoodBoss. You know, for those of you who don't know Dave, he's been my coach and my mentor for over 2 years now, I believe. Just over the 2
and
years.
agony aunt when you get all grumpy.
And agony aunt and you know, verbal punch bag I can sort of ping off of, and many things. You know, he's helped me. He's helped me change my body, increase my performance. He's helped me in ways progress my business. You know, my knowledge to give to clients, and so much more. So without further ado, let me pass on to Dave, and he's gonna tell us a bit about himself.
All right, morning, Jamie. Morning, Essential Talks followers. Thanks for having me on. Let me see. I'll give you a brief rundown because it's boring, as I'm old now. I've been in it for a long time, but worked in London from the age of 16 to about 25 in corporate. Got very fat by eating lots of food and drinking lots of booze. Not getting any sex because I was so fat. So at least I had a good personality, but it doesn't really help. So I needed to change, lost 51 kilos in about 14 months. I'm not even sure what kilos is to pounds these days.
I don't even know either. That's like, I think it's like 2.2 pounds. So it's like, that's coming in like 120 plus pounds, I think.
Yeah, so I was proper fat. So I lost a lot of weight. Moved to South Africa and spent the last 16 years there. Only been back a year now. But in that time, I've owned gyms successfully and unsuccessfully. I've done half marathons and been competitive at that. I've competed in powerlifting at nationals and world levels, finished 5th and 4th at the last couple of world champs I was at, one in Vegas, one in Finland. I've put on the old budgie smuggler and the chimney sweep tan to step on stage for bodybuilding. What else? I've done a fair bit, actually. Competed in the indoor British rowing champs recently in the 500 meters.
That's just, yeah, that must be a new addition that you're like just sliding on there now.
Yeah, I mean, that was the 500 meter indoor rowing, and I placed 5th with 4 weeks practice, so that was pretty good.
Pretty good going. That's pretty good going. It gets to the point though with rowing, I suppose, like that strength capacity you've got just sees you over that 500 meters.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was broken by the end of it. Asked me to do 1,000 meters, and like, no, I'll be fucked. That's it, done.
CPR.
I don't think they wouldn't have even bothered. They would have just said, no, he's gone, leave him.
Amazing.
But so I've had been in gyms, been online for a while now. I'm not sure why I still do it, to be fair, the training or the coaching, but I guess I enjoy it, otherwise I wouldn't keep coming back. So but other than that, I just I think I mainly do it so I can eat more. That's pretty much it.
It's definitely a good side effect.
Oh, it is. You know, looking good is cool, being strong is cool, but being able to just eat what you want for the most part, you know, fuck, that's flexible. That's good life. That is
100%. Like, get your basal metabolic rate up so high that you no longer have to think about anything like that. Pretty
much. I mean, look, if I have to, if I was to specifically work on something like getting down to single digit body fat or something like that, then yeah, I couldn't do that again. I'd have to obviously diet properly, but otherwise now when I'm cruising, then it's funny. Everyone thinks of nutrition as so black and white, but it's not. It's just so flexible and so dynamic. And I guess that's why I get irritated with the industry because there are so many inverted commas gurus who spout BS and this is wrong, this is right. And like I say, everything is context dependent, and there's very rarely anything that's wrong or anything that's right. There's just a way which leads to a reaction, and you go from there. There's there's not even a good reaction or a bad reaction. It's just a reaction, and the context of that depends which way you go next.
100%. You know, we just can't give blanket statement for things no more, can we? You know, we have to be so precise and specific for the client and the person. And it isn't black and white. I think that's the thing I've learned a lot with you, you know, to a degree, you know, calories in, calories out when we're like starting at the base.
Yeah.
But then you play around with, like, I remember in the beginning days, I was eating so much protein, like too much.
Yeah.
And I started spinning that, eating more carbohydrates. I'm actually growing more from eating carbohydrates, and the levels and the intricacy of it as you get along is crazy.
Yeah, no, that's it. And, you know, for the most part, you know, for the likes of you, who, you know, we're now prepping for a comp and we're performance minded, then there are certain things that we're working on with nutrition, and we're focusing on, like you say, you know, pushing the carbs up higher for the growth and these kind of things, refueling and the performance you need in the gym. But again, that's you at a level up here, whereas most general population, as long as their calories are in a certain range, their protein is in a certain range, carbs and fats can be wherever they like, doesn't matter. And it really is as simple as that. They don't need to be overcomplicating things. And, you know, I'll admit, I've done that with clients at the start of my career. You know, I've overcomplicated because you're almost trying to be too smart because you want to impress a client.
I get that.
Because how the simplicity of what it really is doesn't sell. Like, you know, if I just give a client, you know, here's your protein, here's your calories, we'll work with this. Well, is that it? Am I paying you this?
It's not sexy,
No.
you know.
No.
And I really like the phrase that, you know, simplicity appeals to the complex mind and complexity appeals to the simple mind. You know, I love that concept and grasping that. And I think what a lot of, you know, I don't want to go down the calling out what's wrong with the industry route, but I think a lot of coaches talk to other coaches and not the client. They're trying to, like, you know, they're trying to bump one up each and other coach. Like, oh, I know more than you on, you know, macronutrients, and I know more about biomechanics, when, you know, and they're talking to each other, and the client's in the middle, like, what the fuck do I do here?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I see a lot of the posts these days. I mean, if we talk of, you know, exercise selection, biomechanics and that, and there's these cliques of coaches who are debating each other about, but, you know, they're talking to probably 0.0001% of the population. Everybody else down here is like, well, it's irrelevant for them. Just get them squatting within a healthy, you know, safety point, and they're fine. They don't need to be concentrating on this, that, and the other. And yeah, I mean, one of my old coaches, Broderick Chavez, his analogies are fantastic. He can make the most incredibly complex things so simple. And he's basically said all along that if you can't write it down on a Post-it note, then you don't understand it enough. You know, that's how simple he can break it down. He was writing it on a Post-it note, and that's it.
And that just shows his level of understanding of it as well. That he can do that. You know, I like Broderick. I know you refer me on to him, and I asked him a few stupid questions back in the day and got my ass handed to me. But it really is that, you know, the better, you know, understanding and high knowledge of coaches, they can break it down into the simple terms. Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I always talk in layman's terms with my clients for the most part, because, you know, if it's even ridiculous, you know, you talk about glutes, most people know it's their ass or their butt, you know, stuff like that, or, you know, their quad. Okay, it's their thigh. You know, or we even talk about triceps and go, well, it's your fucking bingo wings, isn't it? You know, it's
yeah.
It's you know, and as much as we obviously then educate clients as they go with the correct terminology, I still default back to, you know, colloquial slang almost for the terms like ass and butt, because it's just more relevant to them and it's easier for them to understand. And yeah, it's like I say, I've done the phase, as I said earlier, of being overly complex and trying to make things too complicated. And I've gone right back to absolute basics.
Do you think, you know, with that, obviously, you know me, I love the simple shit, you know, I absolutely love it. I think that's why I fell in love with powerlifting so much, because when you break it down, it's a squat, bench, and dead. Don't get me wrong. There's layers and complexities there, but the methodical progress of just, okay, as long as we just keep getting these 3 lifts stronger in a roundabout way, we're going to make progress. And that's what I mean. That's what I like. Sorry, but for some people, do you think that you've got to find the fine balance for when you give them this really simple program, and like you said, it's not sexy enough for them? So is it almost like a little bit of negotiating, like, okay, let's throw a few drop sets in that is not going to like mess them up, maybe on like an isolation or a low taxing exercise, to keep them sort of happy and engaged?
Yeah, it is. You know, if I look at programming for a lot of my clients, the first exercise is the main one. The second one is the ancillary one, which is, second most important. Then there's some more ancillary work after that, which always goes to support the main couple of lifts. And then, but, you know, they're really interchangeable. You can put anything in there, to be fair, in the most part, in movement pattern wise. And then there's normally some kind of fluff work at the end, which is purely for that. You know, some people will program conditioning at the end. So, you know, X amount of ball slams with a certain amount of rowing, combined with, I don't know, some box jumps, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever, you know, client fancies. And that's purely for that, what is it? That's masturbation factor, that release of, you know, that quick fix of, oh, I've done something really good now. It's giving me that quick fix that I need, and
it keeps them coming back for more. Yeah, and I'll find that, you know, I'm not as big on the online industry as you as of yet, but you know, we're in a pretty thriving studio right now, and a lot of the times we'll take that, like, you know, we know 4 minutes of Tabata isn't actually going to accumulate so much, but for the client to leave on that, wow, I feel like I've done something right now, it brings them back, and it keeps them coming, and it makes them more, you know, happy to train with you in ways.
Yeah, no, that's it. So
other times they fucking run out the door and say, I'm not doing that shit thing again, but hey ho.
That's normally after Bulgarian split squats, isn't it?
That is literally, I don't think there's an exercise more hated in our gym than Bulgarian split squat. Like, we'll put it on a program and people will just cry, like have and like genuinely upset we're doing this to them.
Yeah, I actually, again, maybe I must say, I mean, I love Bulgarian split squats. So I've got split squat. I've got Bulgarians today. I've got 6x6 today, and yeah. But I mean, I can't do much else right now. But even if I could do more, I'd still have Bulgarians in my program. They're just fucking brilliant.
They are good. No, they especially, you know, if we're looking at building a squat, what better single unilateral sided exercise than a Bulgarian split squat?
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
Nothing to it. Right, so we got a few questions, you know, that I got from some of my guys and my followers here. If we just, you know, we speak about these individually, and maybe we can elaborate on bits, and we'll see where they take us. Yeah,
I'm gonna bring them up on my side as well. Okay, cool, go for it. Yeah.
So the first question we got was, can my metabolism be broken?
No. There we go. Next question.
Easy.
That's the very short answer. No. Okay. So I'll obviously elaborate a bit more now. And again, with all of these things, I'm going to preface all of these questions with the answer is always, it depends, because it is always context dependent. So the very short answer is no, your metabolism can't be broken, but it can be dysfunctional in that the human body isn't a static system. It doesn't work independently of each other. Everything is holistic. Everything is interlinked. So the metabolism is fed up of, you know, if you actually look at the chemical pathways of metabolism. So when, you know, you see these gurus say, I'm going to fix your metabolism. And then you bring up this flow chart, and there's probably fucking like 500 different chemical reactions going on that form the metabolism. You go, okay, guru, which part of my metabolism are you going to fix? Right? It's so complex. So no, what tends to happen is if people are either, you know, again, so many scenarios, people can be inconsistent with their nutrition. So if somebody was looking at losing weight and they're not losing weight, the instant go-to is, there's something wrong with me. My metabolism is, you know, broken or something. Many cases, people just aren't tracking accurately, or they're snacking in between things, which again makes it inaccurate, or they've lost some weight, at which point their metabolic rate to sustain their new body weight needs is lower, so they need to then readjust their calorie deficit to keep them losing. Other people, if they have been dieting for a long period of time, they will get some adaptation, which means it will slow a little bit down. But in the studies, they've shown that maximum is about 10-15% that it will slow down by, which isn't a lot. But again, if you're working on, say, if you theorize that your metabolism should be about 2,000 calories, and you've been dieting for a while and it's slowed by 10%, that already takes you down to about 1,800. But if you don't know that, and you set your calorie deficit at 1,600, which is a nice amount of deficit, that's theoretically 400 calories, but you haven't taken into account that 200 shortfall because it has slowed from chronic dieting, then you actually only got a 200 calorie deficit, which isn't going to do much or very quickly. And at the same time, it's very, very easy to mistrack something or just have one bad, meal a week, and all of a sudden your calorie deficit's gone, so you don't lose weight. So there are things like this. So slowing or adaptation is one of the biggest ones. It is more common in female clients I've seen over the years, purely because of, unfortunately, I guess the way social society structure is, and the media, the way it portrays. You look at the front of a guy's magazine and it says, best way to get big biceps or build a strong squat, get six-pack abs. On the front of a women's magazine, it says how to lose 30 kilos in 5 days or something fucking ridiculous like that. So there's always this need or supposed need on women to be dieting, which is completely wrong. So a lot of women have spent a lot of time doing silly crash diets, which has then, maybe slowed their metabolism down. Their body's adapted to lower calories. And then from that side of things, if you're not bringing in enough food, or you're in this kind of crash binge cycle already with a slower metabolism, the way your body handles the food coming in isn't going to be as efficient. Your hormones, and actually I did a post on this yesterday, actually. Your hormones, as a technical term, get fucked. And they do. And when I talk about hormones, we're talking about, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, thyroid output, even, things like your digestive, so your leptin and ghrelin levels, your sleep factor, all of these things become affected by this and affect the ongoing process. So somebody's metabolism isn't broken, but it can definitely be dysfunctional, which in turn has an impact on how the body processes food, how good your sleep is, how much active thyroid you've got going out there, your testosterone levels, because women really do need testosterone in their body as well. And if estrogen is too low, or SHBG, so sex hormone blinding globulin, that's the one.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. It's too high. So all of these things create dysfunction. And, this is why the last while I've really gone away from, so I would consider myself as a strength coach on one side and a fat loss coach on the other. But the last while I've gone completely away from the fat loss side, where people come to me, they want to lose weight. No, weight loss and fat loss, yes, is the goal, but given your history of crappy diets, probably poor nutrition in terms of not enough protein and these kind of things, no real structure in your weight training, we actually need to spend a good period of time first getting you eating properly, feeding your body to allow your metabolism to catch up back to where it should be, because as much as it's slow now, it can be brought back up to speed, which in turn will help bring hormones back into play, which will, again, help with the training, the recovery, the sleep, and all these things, which then puts them in a better point 3 months down the line or longer, depending on their starting point, to then actively go into a structured fat loss phase, not another fucking ridiculous Gwyneth Paltrow diet, or it is like this, to then controlled fat loss phase, which actually works. And because they've spent the past 3 months understanding more about nutrition and feeding their body properly with the right amounts of protein and the right amount of calories, it's so much easier to maintain for them. And during that first 3 month process, invariably, I still see the clients losing weight or maintain weight whilst eating more, yet losing a load of centimeters and getting stronger, and actually going from being desperate to lose weight to actually, I'm fucking loving this. Yeah. I'm loving eating more, because all of a sudden they've got more energy, they're sleeping better, they're getting stronger in the gym, which, as we know, is incredibly empowering anyway. And then I think, even confidence then improves, sex drive improves, and all of this and then it gets to,
sorry to take over. It's just the main thing is just articulating this long-term plan to the individual, and like you said about the Women's Health magazine, I think it's easy for us. I know I do. I'm in my gym and I'm speaking to you and I'm speaking to my clients, and everyone around me is very much singing from the same songbook, as you'd say. Yeah. But every now and then I'll come out and I'll look around and I'll see this car driving past me, the sticker, lose weight with the Cambridge diet, ask me how, and I'm like, holy shit, this stuff's actually going on right now. And because everyone else sees that, when they come to us and they're like, okay, yeah, no, so I just think I'm going to do this 8-week challenge. If you could just put me together something like that, and I'm just like, whoa, hold up a sec. And it is definitely our job and the art of it to articulate that over. If we do this, if we spend some time eating some calories and building some strength, what this will do for you in the long run, as well as obviously the outcome is to lose fat here. You're going to have more sex drive. You're going to be stronger. You're going to have more energy. You're just going to have a better sense of well-being. Hopefully, I still dream that we're going to make the switch. And this shift and this paradox shift is going to happen.
I've been hoping for that for about 16 years.
I know. As I said that and left my nerve, I'm like, he's gonna say, oh yeah, I dreamed that a few years ago as well, Jay.
Yeah, no, look, and to be fair, it is changing. It is a very slow change, but unfortunately, because of the way media and marketing sells, quick fixes are always going to be there. And the best we can do is, when our clients do get kind of, you see the new shiny object, say, yeah, it looks great, but if it worked that well, why am I telling you to do this? Okay. And so, it is a slow process, but as I've said to you and to the Baileys so many times, it's always bigger picture. That's what we're working within. And that carries across to any facet of life. Right now I want to be training for powerlifting, but I can't because my ankle's bust, and I know that I can do powerlifting again. I just need to build up to that once my ankle's fixed, and that it's not never. It's just not right now. There are things we've got to do first to put me into a position which will enable me to do it again. And it's the same with dieting for anybody. So metabolism isn't broken. It could be slowed. It could have adapted. There are a lot of things that go into it. Best part is to either, really accurately have an honest look at your own nutritional intake and say, am I being honest? Because you saw my post the other week about the amount of snacks I had in a day. I had an extra 1,000 calories of snacks.
There's a lot of snackage, bro. A lot of snackage.
I'm a big guy, so I do eat a lot. But at the same time, I know plenty of women and other guys, I'm not going to keep putting this on the women, but who will equally eat a shitload of snacks across the day and not even think about it. And that's how it adds up. So making sure you're honest with yourself on nutrition, and actually, for the most part, if you have been part of a diet culture before they start with you or me or any coach, actually spend some time eating at maintenance levels or even a small surplus, heaven forbid, that, you know, to, fuck shit, to get them up to a point where they've got a strong enough foundation in which their body has, I don't like to say heal, because, you know, it's not, you know, ill or sick, but it's dysfunctional. So, to a point where they're in a better position to lose it safely in the long term and sustainably.
Wise words there, sir. Wise words. The next one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually glad this is on here. You know, someone asked this. How much cardio to do for fat loss?
All of it. You need to do all of it every hour.
All at once, forever.
Yes. If you're not on the cardio now while you're at work, then you suck. Cardio is, again, and this all comes back to fucking media and what you should be doing. I saw a post yesterday saying you need to do cardio for this. No, you need to do what you want to do. You don't need to do any of this shit. But anyway, so when I did my bodybuilding comp, I did 34 weeks of dieting, which in itself was just stupid, but that's beside the point. I didn't do any cardio for the whole 34 weeks, and I ended up on stage shredded single-digit body fat. Okay? That was purely through nutritional manipulation, in terms of calorie deficit and making sure my macros are right, and strength training. That was it. So I could have done cardio, and, you know, that may have, if I added cardio in, then other things would need to have been balanced out as well. I chose not to do cardio. Some of my clients, they want to do cardio, so we put in some cardio. So there is no amount of cardio you need to do for fat loss. I would say, though, that there is a certain amount of cardio that everybody needs to do for cardiovascular health. How much that is, again, I don't know, because it really depends on the person and their lifestyle, what their goals are and what they're looking to achieve. But yeah, cardio for fat loss isn't a necessity. It's just another tool to create additional energy expenditure, which can help in the calorie deficit part of fat loss. But there's no need to do it, so to speak.
No, I really like that. And, you know, when you took me through my first cut, I shifted a grand total of, I think it was 15 kilos. But I'm not the biggest guy in the world, and that was quite a substantial amount of my body weight and body fat.
Yeah.
And I think we only ever pushed up to like 600 calories of LIS a week, you know, just incline walking, you know, for like 45 to 60 minutes or something like this per week. And that is literally all it was.
It's not a lot, and, you know, because a lot of that time was lockdowns as well, wasn't it? So
it was.
You know, had you have been in the gym like you are now for most of it, where you're actually on your feet most of the day, we probably wouldn't have had to do that cardio, because you would have had that expenditure from just daily step count in itself.
Yeah, 100%. On the flip side of that, you know, this is not on fat loss side of things now. It's just cardio as a thing. I think a few of my guys ended up taking the cardio thing the wrong way, you know, and we was deep in some strength blocks and doing some stuff, and then we're taking like 5 minutes rest in between sets. As you know, when you're doing some heavy squats and deads, the resting becomes quite a lot. And they're getting back up after 5 minutes to get under the barbell again, and they're still breathing quite heavy. So what I like to do now, and what I think a lot of people would be better to look at it, using cardio to make your actual weight training better.
100%.
You know, to make yourself your build your cardiac base up so high that you can recover so much more efficiently in between sets and things like that. And I think that's a good way to look at it.
That's exactly it. In that, you know, that comes down to that cardiovascular health, that cardiovascular fitness, which will only aid in somebody's ability for their strength training. Again, when I was working with Broderick, preparing for Worlds, my actual strength training was only 4 days a week. And then the other 2 days were conditioning days, which were my cardiovascular days. because it helps so much with the recovery for getting under the big weights. And funny enough, so you'll find this out at the comps, but in powerlifting, typically there's X amount of people in a flight, probably 12 to 15 people in a flight for your round of squats. And there's often anywhere from 10 to 16 minutes between lifts, which is really ample time to recover. But at Worlds, the flight and the efficiency of the platform was so fucking spot on that there was often only maybe 7 minutes between. Whoa. Which when you're having to finish your squat, then give your next attempt to the officials panel, get back, unwrap your knees, rewrap the wraps, rewrap your knees, belt up, it's nearly time to go again. And there are a lot of and that's then still squatting maximum weights in between as well. So there was actually several people there who were struggling to cope with the shorter time because they're used to much longer, and who probably didn't do that cardiovascular work in the off-season. They rely on strength and just whatever else. That's fine, but it really hurt them on the day because the transition time was that much quicker than they were used to and what they were used to in training. Whereas me, look, it was fast and I was fine for the squats, but it was pushing it still. But had I have not done that conditioning in the off season, in the build up, I would have been screwed.
Yeah. No, 100%. Cardio done.
Yeah.
Next question: how long should I be dieting for? So I'd imagine that's just talking about maybe one straight push or the whole phase. Take it as you like.
Yeah, look, there's mixed thoughts here, and I've already mentioned my bodybuilding thing example. I did 34 weeks straight of dieting. There was no refeeds, there were no diet breaks. It was just through and through. So it can be done that way. I wouldn't recommend it. I was thoroughly fucking burnt out by the end. Wife was ready to divorce me because such a miserable sod. It does depend on the person, their psychological state. So I'll plan out 6 to 8 week block of dieting, and then I'll pencil in a diet break, for 1 week or 2 weeks at the end. And when we get to that point where it's okay, we're getting up to that time now, and I'll usually ask the client, how are you doing? If you're feeling strong and you're enjoying it and you're not struggling and we're getting good results, then they'll often say, no, I'm good to carry on and we'll reassess next week. And, that might happen for another 2-3 weeks before they actually say, yeah, actually now I'm ready to stop and I'm ready to, let's have a diet break for a week, and we reassess then. That diet break could be 1 week, it could be 10 days, it could be 6 weeks before we then go into the next fat loss phase. Other people I know will do 4 weeks on, 1 week off. But the problem with that kind of staggered approach is it takes a lot longer to get to your eventual goal. Now, I know we always say bigger picture and, do it sustainably, but there's also a kind of a point where, an approach like that. I mean, I think, who was it? Lane Norton and Holly Baxter, they did produce some results on this recently. And I think I can't remember the exact details, but it was something like a 12-week diet versus their approach, which I think was a 4-week diet, 1 week kind of diet break. By the end of each diet, both had reached the same results, but there were a few variables different in that I think the longer dieting group had slightly better blood markers. Their metabolic rate hadn't slowed as much as the initial group. So there were these pros that they were selling on it. But at the same time, it took the first group only 12 weeks, and it took the second group, who took all the stagger ones, 26 weeks.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you want to be dieting for 26 weeks, or would you rather get it over with a bit quicker?
And then you can jump back up to maintenance, and then your bloods will sort itself out anyway.
Very quickly, yeah, exactly that. You know, if you're getting back up to maintenance, you know, almost immediately after your dieting phase, or your new maintenance, not your previous maintenance, because your body weight is lighter now, so your new maintenance, then in many cases, your blood work metabolism returns back to baseline levels in, 2 to 3 weeks. So, even there, so 12 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, 15 weeks, and then you've got another side there, which is 26 weeks. So again, it is context dependent. It's very much more about the psychological state of the person
100%.
and their adherence.
I definitely agree with you on that. With myself, like you, I fucking love my food. And I remember every 6th week I was taking that diet break, every single 6th week, because it is, for me, mentally, that was a long enough time. And then I'd almost have, I'd get through the diet break and have more of a fire in my belly for the next week. And it just tied in perfect. I think where me and yourself, we've always done that power building sort of style training, the 6th week usually, not always, was a deload. So I took that and it helped me recover through the deload and then start a new phase and then back in. So I think it definitely is more mental than physical. Definitely for the if we say general population who we're talking to right now, it definitely is more mental than physical. But I don't know whether it changes down the scale when you get to, elite bodybuilding levels and we're looking to influx calories and stuff like this. I'm not too sure the mechanics there.
Yeah, look, again, it'll be down the person. Somebody like, so I've not worked with any elite bodybuilders. So, I've worked with local level bodybuilders who've placed well at nationals and that kind of thing. But I look at the elite level, somebody like Doug Miller, who's a natural pro, but huge genetic freak. He spends anywhere from 26 to 32 weeks dieting down before comps. So he does the very slow, staggered approach. But then you'll get others who will just, floor it for 16 weeks. So at the elite level, again, the mechanisms that are in place, whether it be elite or amateur or general population, are exactly the same. It's really just about that individual and what they feel works best for them and their lifestyle. It's just the level of progression that you take it to each time.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Next one. So we're staying on board with the food thing here. Will more protein grow my muscles?
Yes, you need all the protein for all the gains. Get swole, all the swollenness. Will more protein? Again, it depends on how much protein you're currently having. Most people, when they start with me, are not eating enough protein, so they're not supporting the body's basic needs for building and preserving lean muscle mass. So for them, and not forgetting that protein isn't just for muscle, it's for skin, hair, nails, ligaments, joints, tendons, everything else. So if they are not eating enough, then eating more will, yes, definitely help with getting more lean muscle mass. If they're already eating enough, then no, there's a point of diminishing returns where more doesn't equal more, muscle, and it won't do any harm, but it'll likely hold you back, because that extra amount you're getting from protein, you'll be better off putting those calories towards carbohydrates, which will help fuel your training, which will help fuel your recovery. And that's where, again, without want to go too deep, the carbs that then shuttle the insulin into the muscles, which then help the anabolic processes go on from there. that would be a better place to be spending your calories once your range of protein is in place. Anywhere from 1.8 grams to probably 2.4 grams per kilo that's quite a big range, isn't it? Actually, to be fair,
that is a big range. But like you said, there's a lot of variables and context there. Age, activity level, surplus, deficit, all these sort of things. But I was waiting for you to making sure you're going to go on to that, because I'm that person you just spoke about last, where I was always eating too much protein. And for every extra gram of protein I was eating, I was missing a gram of carbs.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm on like a delicious 600 whole grams of carbohydrates. Like, I start my day off with 3 fucking like jam sandwiches. It's ridiculous. I'm
living like a king.
Living like a pure king. Bailey's like looking over at the table like pure disgust as I'm like just shoving it in as fast as I can. But
where is she, by the way? Why isn't she here?
Bailey was PTing until 11, and I imagine she'll be somewhere. But this is a boys only chat, no girls.
Oh, is it boys only chat? All right.
Boys rule, girls draw, right? But yeah, no, I feel so much stronger for the carbs, and I'm definitely bigger for it as well, So it's definitely you need that top end, that top bit of protein, and then you can go with what you want, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's it. And again, with most of my clients these days, especially general population, I work within a range for their protein. Again, because they're not aiming to be an elite athlete, they're not wanting to step on stage or on a platform or anything like this, then it doesn't need to be so fixed and you must do this. It is a range. So if we use the examples of 1.8 to 2.4, so a 100 kilo guy, for example, that's a range of anywhere from 180 grams to 240 grams of protein per day. Anywhere within that remit, and they're good, they're covered. To be fair, they could probably even go down to 1.6 if they were in a maintenance or a surplus and still be safe. But for me, that's probably a little bit too low. And you start to, if other things in the diet or training aren't quite right, then you're probably going to be starting to sacrifice something. So that 1.8 to 2.4, anywhere in there, set your range. And as long as you're in there, you're all good, you're covered.
Spot on. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then the last question we're going to go through today, before we wrap up. Any supplements that are worth taking for fat loss?
None that are legal. So no. Look, any of the supplements that you see, for example, what's that shitty store called here on the high street? That's the one. Yeah.
We got no Holland and Barrett representation watching, but they probably know.
They probably know. Yeah, they do know. So anything that is selling in those kind of stores for fat loss, it's either been a cherry-picked study that has supported the formulation of this product, or what's the one, raspberry ketones and shit like this.
It's like green tea extracts, caffeine, like stimulant based things that might give you some, like a few heart palpitations every now and then, but not, or if that, probably.
If that. So the main way that those supplements work is that they are normally caffeine dosed. So the caffeine increases your energy levels, which, because you've got more energy, you do a bit more stuff. So it raises metabolism a little bit with that, and you're expending more energy because you've got more energy itself from the caffeine. So that helps to create that extra energy deficit. But you could just get that from a coffee or a caffeine tablet itself. You don't need any other stuff. So, again, when I take my nutrition seminars, I'll do a 3-hour seminar, and at the end of it, I get half an hour of questions just on supplements. Like, you've not listened to a fucking word I've said this whole seminar.
It's like they've got this burning thing in their head, and they're like, I'm fucking asking this question, and he's going to give me that golden ticket, because I know he's got it.
That's it, because again, it's human nature. We don't want to wait. We want that quick fix. We want something to be able to just take and make it better. Now, the amount of people I've met over the years who've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and instead of doing anything about it, they've just taken the meds.
Yeah.
Because why do I need to change? I'll just take a tablet. It's much easier to take a tablet than it is to actually do any work to change my lifestyle and everything else. So, and it's the same with, what we're talking about here with fat loss supplements. People want that magic bullet, that quick fix, where we know the reality is very different. It doesn't sell the same if it's not sexy. But the supplements that I would look to use, which I look to recommend to everybody, which again help the whole, holistic setup within the body, will be good quality sleep to start with. The amount of people who just don't sleep enough, stay up late watching TV, Netflix binging and that kind of thing. Parents don't, they're in a different category altogether. Like kids waking up in the night, shit like this. I get that. Yep. It's hard. You can only do what you can do, in your situation. So just do the best you can with sleep there. Then zinc, magnesium, vitamin D3, and omegas. That's pretty much my go-to fat loss stack, because what that does internally for getting things working more optimally, because nutrition, training, sleep will also help along those things. That will help with that side of things. Other than that, they're just really, there's nothing legal that's actually depends where you're from. I think Yohimbe is legal someplace. I'm not sure if it's legal here.
I think like maybe Germany or something like this. I think.
Yeah, there's a few places that have that which is legal. But again, a lot of people have that, and it's got it starts to build up in the system, and then you've got to stop taking it anyway. A lot of people suffer severe anxiety with it as well. So again, there's always these side effects when you're introducing something like that into the system for many people, not everyone, but for many. So again, getting the basics right, good sleep, making sure the supplements I've just mentioned are on point, your training is on point, your nutrition is where it needs to be. Other factors which are hard to control, but things like stress. I put it on my my welcome packs, and I put it on social media as well. Like, one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is hang around with people you actually like being around. If it amazes me the amount of people I see bitching on social media about, oh, this person's a dick and this person, that person. Well, don't fucking speak to them.
It is literally mad. Your people come into sessions and they'll say this, and I get it is situation dependent. Like they might be stuck in a job or something like this, but you should making means to change that situation would create a crazy response. Like we said, stress is gonna inhibit sleep. It's gonna mess up so many of these things. And if we, supplements are just that sprinkle on the top.
Yeah, it
is.
is.
That tiny, if that is the tiniest stalk on the freaking cherry on the top of the Knickerbocker Glory, like it's right up.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Renaissance Periodization, a big nutrition and strength company in the US, Mike Israel's company, him and Nick, can't remember his surname, but they came out with the nutrition pyramid, the priorities of, for body composition and that. And supplements, I think, represented 3% of the equation. That's it. Yet people will spend X amount of money every month on various supplements. I mean, even if you look at pre-workouts, the amount of money people spend on that, and CLA is ridiculous.
Yeah,
the amount of money, it's crazy, because it's not cheap. And the stacks that people buy of supplements, and they post, just got my stack from such and such. Like, fuck me.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And you look at it, and it's like, we need to be focusing on many other things than your supplement stack right now. I mean, if on some things, like, not saying, like, you take pre-workout, don't you?
Oh, every now and then. I've actually backed off the last while. I just take a pure caffeine tab now. That's it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
but I mean, I have done, and I think some of it is I mean, and again, this comes up in my seminars, and and I always say when we're talking about supplements, I know what it's like, because I know that most of them are shit. Most of them are filled with crap that you don't need. Most of it doesn't do what it says it's going to do. There was one in South Africa that said, "We'll increase your bench press by 1,200%." Like, yeah, fuck. And people can get away. People get away with this shit.
Give me it in tubs. I want it now.
That's it. Marketing around these things, because it's unregulated, is crazy. Now, I know all this stuff, but I will walk into, I haven't seen any here, but in South Africa, there are supplement shops everywhere, and specifically for the fitness market. And I'll walk in, and there is just like shelves. I'm like, oh, wow. There's skulls on this one, and there's, fucking demolish this, and, savage fucking this, and it's shiny, and they've got glitter on the packets, and, devastating muscular pumps. I'm like, yeah, I want that.
And it is, it's making it sexy, isn't it?
It is. And so I know why people, they buy this stuff. We've already said about the quick fix and that, but it is sexy when you go into these supplement shops, you see, the big buff guy or the hot chick behind the counter saying, yeah, this is what you need. I can see, it tells me devastating muscular pumps. I want that. And it's a lot of money for a lot of crap in the most part. But it, you get those, and if it makes you feel good, and you go to the gym and you have a great session with it, then cool. But that is placebo effect in the most part, which can be powerful.
It's powerful, but don't lean on it. Don't use that as your crutch. You should be able to do all the things by yourself. And I might have a scoop of pre-workout today or something. It's going to make you feel, but you're not. That isn't your crutch. Fuck, I haven't got my pre-workout and my fucking Gymshark tracksuit and my fucking Beats, and I can't. My phone's got no charge. I can't train. Do the things that you need to do, and then if you can take these like shiny things, that's fine. But just know that they are a supplement. They are to supplement, they're not to be the thing. Yeah,
no, that's it. And it's funny what you say about Beats and that. Again, the amount of people I've seen who will put on, say, oh, my Beats have run out of charge or whatever, had a crap session. Like, you can't be relying on fucking headset to give you a good session. When you've got that over reliance on something, it tells me that you are not going to do this long term. It's just not going to work. If you're that reliant on something to make you have a good training session, then there are things going wrong for me there.
And I like the tip you gave me once. I don't even know if it's a tip, but I remember you telling me about it, and I'd done it myself. Was train with no music.
Yeah.
And I remember I was very fortunate during the UK lockdown. We had our facility, and I was training still. They weren't taking that away from me. And a couple of times, I turned the music off, and I just raw dogged that shit. No music and stuff. And it makes you work for it. But I know when I'll have music, or when I'm in we talk about the competition environment and stuff, I'm going to be able to utilize that extra neurological support, if you like.
That's it. And it is exactly that. And I've spoken to a lot of people about this over the years, because some people do really rely on the music, whereas I was training at home, preparing for nationals and worlds. It's just me on my own, which is already hard, in the most part. And no music, and knowing full well that if I can train like that to the level that my coach has told me to, and make the progress I need to, that when it comes to comp day, when adrenaline kicks in, when there is family, friends there, when there is a crowd there, when there is other athletes there getting hyped up, I know how much more potential there is in the tank. And it's never failed me. And in fact, I will then use the music on the day, for my own stuff. So for example, I have different music for different lifts. When I'm warming up for squats, I sit there listening to Feeling Good. So Nina Simone, or song, which was my wedding song, when we came out. So I sit there, I'm getting ready for squats. I'm nervous as fuck, but I have this in my head, on my headphones, just gets me relaxed, keeps me calmer, and I go up and nail the first squat, done, nerves are gone. Then bench press is always my fucking weak lift. So I play Journey and with, oh, Jesus Christ, what's it called now? Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah,
because my bench press is that, that's it. My bench press is that small town girl living in a lonely world.
Blimey.
And then deadlift is, who's Dana Lynn Bailey's partner, Rob Bailey.
Okay.
And the song Motherfucking Beast comes on, and that's my song for deadlift, because deadlift, I know I'm tired by the end of that session, that squat comp, and I need that aggression and that amped part of, you know, that song to get me in the right mental frame to go out and now try after, you know, essentially by this point, and you'll see it, the comp's normally about 9 hours long, even though, it's a long day. So you're sitting there all day. By the end of that comp, you're already tired, you're fried, you're mentally ready to just tap out, and you need that extra bit of impetus. And, you know, so music has its place, but again, you can't become over reliant on it, you know, and any of these ergogenic aids, be it nutraceutical or other stimulant-based kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think there's some really good stuff there. You know, really
cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, especially, I know loads of my guys, are going to take so much away from that. And I hope that other people will too. You know, we didn't get too sidetracked. I feel like we stuck to the script to a degree there.
We did. We were good.
You know, there was a couple bits we started going off, but I think sort of first talk with yourself, Dave, on Essentials Talk went extremely well. So thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. I love chatting about this stuff. The more people who can hear from real people, real coaches about, the basics and the truth behind this, the better. And realize that, again, a lot of people, you know, don't make the success or get the results they want, and they think they're broken or there's something wrong with them. In most cases, they're not. They've got a lot of energy, but they're putting it in the wrong areas. We just need to redirect that energy into the areas we know that work, and the results will happen. It cannot fail. That's what we're here for. And I'm always down to talk about this stuff and help out. And if any of your clients, listeners, watchers, whatever, want to drop me a message about any of these things, then, you know, on social media, go for it. Just hit me up, and I'll help out where I can.
Yeah. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you, Dave? Is it your Instagram, or is it? Yeah,
Instagram is normally the easiest one, and that is _FoodBoss. So follow me, drop me a message, whatever. I'll follow back and reply. So that's normally the easiest. Cool.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Dave, and I'm sure we'll hear from you again soon.
Pleasure, Jamie. Cool, man.
Bye.